Thank you for tuning in to another episode with Mrs. Danielle DeVita. I am a relationship and femininity coach, and my goal is to help both men and women be in relationships that's best for them. And today we are going to talk about the nitpicking wife. So today is going to be a marriage series. I talk often about dating and marriage, but today I want to talk solely about the married woman. And then if you are not married, but these particular situations are something that you've noticed in your relationships, this is something you can fix prior to getting in a marriage. This is something I've learned. Like I said, I've been married for 13 years, and I want to provide input that I've learned throughout my marriage. So you probably hear this often where a lot of men are saying, their wife is, nagging often. And then you also hear what women are saying, he doesn't pick up after himself. And I'm always having to get on him because he's leaving his shoes here. He's leaving the towel on the floor and this and that. And these are like valid points. But there is something to be said about the nitpicking wife. If you are faith-based, then you would know that in the Bible, it does talk about the woman who is kind of nagging and nitpicky, or more so the nagging wife. And then the man is better off on the rooftop than being at home with the nagging wife, right? Nitpicking is in a form of that as well. But I want to talk a little bit more about what a lot of women are saying about their husbands. And I'll give an anecdotal. So when I would do the laundry, I had a basket in the closet. So whenever you change your clothes, you can just put your dirty laundry right in the basket. And then I had an extra basket on my husband's side. So if he wanted to take off a shirt at night or do something, he didn't have to go all the way to the closet. He could just put it there. And then I would pick it up, get the laundry, and then take both laundries from both areas and then complete the laundry as normal. So in this case, I had, issues where he would just drop clothes off right there next to the basket, right? No matter whether it was in the closet or if it was the one next to his bed. And so I would get frustrated. And a lot of married women are saying that they're frustrated with similar type of issues. But what I have learned is, I can say all day long, it's just 2 feet. It's just 2 feet. Why can't he put it in that basket? It's just 2 feet. Just put it in the basket to make it easier for me. I could say that. But I can also say it's just 2 feet. So why bother him with 2 feet? I can just pick it up and put it in the basket if I see it, or when it's time to do laundry, I pick it up. I would hear some people that would either give me advice or give other women advice saying, well, just leave it there and you do all the laundry that's in the basket and he'll learn. And I feel like it creates a hostile type of relationship because it's essentially being petty. This is how, and I've had to pray about that. So if you are a wife and you're going through these things, prayer, if you are faith-based, prayer for your husband and your situations is better than just nitpicking, right? When you have issues, go ahead and take it to God in prayer. I realize as a wife that has worked. But what I've also understood is, okay, so he did not put the clothes in the basket, right? However, my husband had a long day at work. Of course, just like me. He also, right after work, he handles 2 different businesses. He's either, in addition to his main job, he's also selling homes. He's doing investment. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's helping out with so much. And he's such a great husband, such a great father. Why would I create a hostile environment? So right now it's at peace until I see this, whatever it is on the floor, this shirt on the floor. And so out of that, why would I create this hostile environment that he comes home to over 2 feet? No, he didn't go 2 feet. But yes, I can go 2 feet and grab it and put it in the basket. That's the least I can do. Because, a lot of times, you would see where someone is nitpicking because there's a long list of things that their husband isn't doing, right? And so we're talking about, and when I say we're talking about, I'm talking about my husband. He's a competent man. He goes to work. He provides for us and then some. So he's not just doing the bare minimum. He's doing that and then some. So if I have a husband who's doing that, why in the world would I cause arguments and nitpick over 2 feet? Why would it matter that his shoes are not here, or his shirt is not here, or the towel is left on the floor? So you've learned, if you've been married long enough, you've learned to pick your battles. And I'm saying, even if you're in a relationship with someone and you're not married yet, these are things you're going to have to learn. Not to be petty, because I do think it's petty when you wash all the clothes except that, right? And he's going to say, well, why didn't you wash that? Oh, it wasn't in the basket. So that's another day, because the first day was you went to go launder the clothes, or you were upset about it. And then the next day, he's upset because he doesn't have a shirt. So now you've created this whole hostile environment over 2 feet. And you can say, because it's inconsiderate. But what else is he doing? There's a difference between a husband or a man who is laying down, not doing anything. You're providing, you're doing this, you're doing that. You're taking on his responsibilities. So now you're frustrated, and that 2 feet is just added on to the frustration of he doesn't do anything. The least he could do is that. Well, I don't have that issue. I have a husband who's doing this, he's doing that. So what if he can't get to the smoke alarm right this time, which he did? So what? He can't get to this shirt and put it in the basket this time. So what? And there's some flaws that we have. A lot of times we think we're so perfect and we have no flaws. But a lot of times men don't say anything to us because they don't make a fuss about trivial things. But as wives, I know we tend to do that. So I've learned that my marriage is a lot better when I don't nitpick, when I say, the least I can do is do that. Right? So there's a difference between my son taking out the trash and forgetting to put it back in, because yes, that's the least he could do, right? Rather than my husband who's doing this and 2 businesses and that, and he's ripping and running to run all these errands and these other to-do lists I have. So what? He forgot to put the trash bag in the trash can. That's the least I can do. It's my pleasure to do that. And a lot of times we are frustrated. Why? Because we're with a man who's not competent. Him not putting the trash in the trash bag. Him not putting his clothes in the laundry bin. Him not putting his shoes where it needs to be. Him not picking up his food after he eats, or putting his cup in the sink, or washing that one little spoon after you just wash the dishes. Those things are upsetting because he's not considerate in bigger things. There's a laundry list of things that he's not doing, that you feel that he's not competent. But when you do have a man who's competent, he's a provider, he's a protector, you don't be nitpicky with those small things. You don't let trivial things affect your marriage. And I want to say this because I know that we watch TV a lot and people like to nitpick their husband with the smallest things, but no, right? And we want them to feel appreciated for the things they do. I do notice that whenever I stopped worrying about, oh, he didn't take the trash out in time, or he didn't do this and he didn't do that, and I started doing it, and I did it with cheerful, right? Not with an attitude, but I did it with cheer and not let it bother me. I noticed he took more time in to say, don't worry about that, I got that, because it did not sit well with him to see me doing those things that he was supposed to do. And because I did it gladly, he didn't have this feeling, right? Burning in him like, oh, let me do it before she does this. But no, it was like, let me do it. I can't believe I'm over here letting her do that. So I've learned a long time ago in our marriage that doesn't work. Me being irritated with trivial things. And I had to pray about those things. And God told me, stop worrying, stop being petty. Because I think I did another lesson when I talked about what love is. Love is not, it doesn't count all the wrongdoing. Love is not petty. And when you get to understand truly what love is, you don't let these trivial things get in the way. You love this person enough to let some of those things go. But a lot of times people look at love as an emotion, but love is action. So when a lot of people say, oh, love is not enough, love don't pay the bills, because you're talking about the emotion. No, the emotion of love doesn't pay the bills. But actual love, like true love, it pays the bills. How so? Because love makes a man want to get up and do what he has to do for his family. Love makes a man to want to protect his family. Love makes a man want to push hard and have the mindset, the go-getter attitude to do what he needs to do so his family can be well. Love makes the person to not count all the wrong, but want to do right? And see the best in people and want to be the best in themselves, right? So love is actually an action word. Love is not something that you just feel. It's something you do. You show love. You show love through your service to the other person. Love is not selfish because love requires you to give. So when you're with someone and you say you love them and you don't see action in all the things that they do that's showing love, then that's not love, that's lust. Love won't have you count every time they're doing something wrong. If every time they do something wrong, you're counting it and you're like, there we go again, then I would say it's time to get coaching. It's time to get healing. It's time to go to therapy, because true love has action behind it. It makes a person want to be the best version of themselves. And you as the wife are an influence of that. If you go to 1 Peter chapter 3, I like to read in the Amplified. It does talk about submitting to your husband, but it says not through adorning yourself in beauty, right? Your outer beauty, but it's your words, your action behind it. So it's not enough just to say you love them, but if you truly love them, you won't let that 2 feet of him not walking to go put something in the trash or in the laundry bin like he needs to, and if he just dropped it on the floor, you're not going to let that bother you. Your words and your actions going to show, I still love you through it all, and I know you meant well. Now, this is not to say you're never going to bring it up to that person, right? You're going to let your spouse know, hey, I truly appreciate it if you just take this extra step and put it here. And then maybe one more time you say it, but after the second time, I wouldn't say it again. After that, I would take it to God in prayer. I would just go about your business and you keep doing it. And he will eventually catch on to it. I think that it doesn't do you well or him well, to nag on and on and on about it. Why? Because then it affects the mood for you guys to do like we talked about in the last on Tuesday, right? It affects the mood for you guys to have that emotional connection, just mentally and emotionally, because there's some hostility there, there's some pettiness there, and if it affects the relationship from progressing and having more deep communication, because people tend to be more standoffish and talk less when they are upset. Like, even if you hold back and not be nitpicky, but just holding back and being quiet for a long period of time and not discussing things, it's going to be less time that you guys are having deep conversation, because it's going to be short and dry, right? So that is what I have for you. Please don't be the nitpicking girlfriend or the nitpicking wife. Be the wife that does things with cheerful attitude, loving. Say what you have to say. Get straight to the point. Hey, it would really take some stress off me if you put your food in the trash when you're done, or if you put that, shirt in the laundry bin instead of on the floor. It would really help if you do this. Say that. No pettiness, no attitude, and no playing games or these mind games. Just say how you feel, and then after that, take it to God in prayer. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in to Mrs. Danielle DeVita. To learn more about my content, you can go to mrsdanielledevita.com, or you can see me on social media. I am on Spotify, Feminine Energy with Danielle DeVita. So that's my podcast, Feminine Energy with Danielle DeVita. I am on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, as well as YouTube under Mrs. Danielle DeVita, or just Danielle DeVita. I think it's Mrs. Danielle DeVita. All right. Thank you so much. Take care.